Hey there, and welcome to your lesson on motivational interviewing. While the name's a little bit off-putting, I promise that you're not going to learn how to sit your client down for an interview-style barrage of questions. Because as someone who's tried that before, just take my word for it that it doesn't end so well. So unfortunate name aside, motivational interviewing, or MI, is a great tool that you can use to add to your tool belt because of how seamlessly it integrates into the nurse coaching process in conjunction with all the other techniques that you've learned so far. In nurse coaching, we use motivational interviewing to support our clients to overcome ambivalence to change, resistance to change, and any type of lack of self-confidence. And just like all the other tools you're learning this week, rather than motivational interviewing being a session itself, you're going to use parts of MI all throughout your coaching conversations. Historically, healers have tried to reason, tell, or steer our patients in a certain direction. We give advice and doctors give orders. Not surprisingly, this approach has generally led to denial, disagreement, and resistance. Then, when our patients don't do as they're told, we label them as non-compliant, which is really just a way to take the attention off the fact that we have failed as practitioners in our communication. Client-empowered techniques like motivational interviewing and appreciative inquiry allow us practitioners, us nurses, to reclaim ownership of our practice by using a non-directive approach that taps into our clients' motivation for change. We take ownership of our practice, and instead of labeling our clients as non-compliant, we get flexible with our communication. We individualize each approach, and we discover what works best for each client in their present situation. So in this module, we're covering principles of motivational interviewing. We'll talk about how to express empathy while experiencing compassion. We'll talk about empathetic reflections. And finally, we'll look at how to maximize MI's effectiveness. So let's start with the principles of motivational interviewing. This technique supports us to coach our clients by expressing empathy, developing discrepancy, rolling with resistance, and supporting self-efficacy. Let's explore each one of those principles in a bit more detail. First principle, express empathy. When our clients are talking and thinking about change, they're often experiencing a state of ambivalence. They have mixed feelings and are indecisive about how to move forward. Understandably, this results in a lack of commitment and an ineffective change process. Think about it like this. Even positive change involves a certain degree of loss. After all, we're giving up part of ourselves in order to create that change. So your clients often feel an ambivalent range of emotions, simultaneously experiencing, I don't want to, but I do want to change. As nurse coaches, our first step is to express empathy and to accept our clients fully. By avoiding argumentation, we create a conflict-free, non-directive environment. Listen deeply and acknowledge without judgment. Recognize that ambivalence is natural, so resist the need to fix your client. Resist the need to fix. Instead of trying to give advice or convince our clients to change, we develop discrepancy. This is the second principle of MI. Change is motivated by a perceived discrepancy between our current behaviors and our values and goals. It's a gap between where we are and where we want to be. As nurse coaches, we highlight this discrepancy to support our clients to overcome ambivalence. This is what we refer to as coaching the gap, coaching someone from where they are to where they want to be. When our clients recognize the incongruence between their values and how they're actually living, they're able to start developing an organic, intrinsic desire to change because they're noticing a difference between their values and how they want to be. So let's look at some examples of ambivalence versus developed discrepancy. The ambivalence is, I've been in pain for so long. I guess this is always how it's going to be. The developed discrepancy is, I really want to feel better. I wonder what else I can try. Another example of ambivalence is, my racing thoughts make me feel anxious all the time. Everyone tells me I'm just a high-strung person. I don't want to be, but I'm starting to think that they're right. And developed discrepancy says, I want to feel calm and grounded. I would love to explore this whole mindfulness thing. Often, a pros and cons list can be helpful in this stage. You might ask your client, what are the benefits and drawbacks of staying the same? What are the benefits and drawbacks of changing? The stronger the discrepancy, the more powerful of a motivator it is. Since intrinsic motivators are always more effective in the long term than extrinsic ones, once you have a discrepancy, you've got something to work with. You've got possibility and hope instead of ambivalence and confusion. From there, we begin to explore the benefits of changing and the consequences of staying the same. Okay, so we've met ambivalence to change with empathy and acceptance, while also using open-ended inquiry and our co-creative skills to develop discrepancy. Those are the first two principles of MI. Next up, third principle, roll with resistance. Remember, all change, even when it's change for the better, means we gotta let go of the old way of doing things. So in a way, we experience a sense of loss and grief, which makes us feel like we don't want to keep moving forward with the process of change. So it's normal to feel resistance when we're attempting to break free of the status quo. But as nurse coaches, we believe that there's no such thing as a resistant client, only inflexible communicators. So instead of arguing or reasoning when the client displays resistance, we hold space and ask questions. We never directly oppose our client's resistance to change. Instead, we offer new perspectives without imposing them. Our job is to ensure that our clients are coming up with their own answers and solutions as much as possible. By using your knowledge of the trans-theoretical model of change, you can ensure that your communication is congruent with the stage of change that your client is in for that particular area of their well-being. If it seems like they're becoming resistant, closed off, or defensive, use this as a chance to adjust your communication style. Maybe spend a little bit of time reconnecting and reestablishing rapport, reminding your client that you're on their team. Maybe you want to take some slow, deep, mindful breaths and then reinforce your agreements and co-create a way forward. You always want to be sure to walk slightly beside and slightly behind your client, so to speak, reinforcing that they have authority over their decisions. They're in the lead, and they always have a choice for how they do or do not want to live their life, how they do or do not want to change. Remember, you're not there to judge them or tell them what to do. You're there to accept them with empathy and compassion and to point out discrepancies between how they're living and how they want to be living. Because when we do all that, we're essentially supporting self-efficacy. When you empower your clients to take personal responsibility for their actions and help them cultivate hope and belief in the infinite number of ways they can live their lives, you facilitate their sense of ownership over their life, health, and actions. They become fully aware that they are the creator of their future, and they begin to believe in their own power to change. So there you have it, my friend, the principles of motivational interviewing: expressing empathy, developing discrepancy, rolling with resistance, and supporting self-efficacy. But before we move on, I want to highlight a distinction between expressing empathy but experiencing compassion. It's important to let our clients know that we're there with them, that we can relate to their experience as another human. But it's also important to not overdo it, because if you consistently and fully empathize with another person's pain and suffering, you're gonna start to feel overwhelmed, exhausted, and burnt out. Same goes for sympathy, which puts us at risk of feeling pity for our clients, wanting to cheer them up or give them a hug and do anything but help them feel what they're feeling right now. Feeling sorry for someone implies that you don't see their strength, creativity, and resilience. It breaks down the fundamental blocks upon which our nurse coaching practice is built. While many healers, including myself, identify as empaths, there's a far more powerful tool in our arsenal called compassion. When you're compassionate, you're aware of the suffering without needing to take it on yourself. So we created the 4-step empath's guide to express empathy while experiencing compassion. Step 1 is awareness. Become aware of your client's suffering, pain, grief, sense of loss. Be fully present with it without needing to solve or suppress it. And remember that emotion is energy in motion. So allow your client to feel whatever they need to feel fully. Hold space for that. Step 2 is to acknowledge and appreciate. Affirm your client's experience by acknowledging it. And remember to avoid the words like, I understand what you're going through. Instead, you want to try, I acknowledge that what you're going through has been difficult, or I appreciate how vulnerable you're being right now. You're really playing full out. Step 3 is to set boundaries. Don't take on your client's pain yourself. Ensure that you're engaging in some type of post-coaching ritual to let go of the energy of the session and release attachment to the outcome. And the 4th step is to motivate. Harness your client's internal strength, resilience, and creativity to develop a powerful intrinsic motivation. And know that residing in sympathy does little for you and your client. Instead, use your tools, ask your questions, and inspire transformation. So that's the 4-step Empath's Guide to express empathy while experiencing compassion. Next up, let's examine empathetic reflections. As a co-creative skill, we've already covered some of the basic reflections. As a reminder, those are invitations for more, mirroring and repeating back, rephrasing, paraphrasing, metaphors, and imagery. Empathetic reflections are like next level reflections. When you notice any element of resistance arising, you can reframe it by taking what your client says and offering them a new perspective. And these reflections are especially powerful when you speak directly to the fears, anxieties, doubts, and challenges that your clients are facing. So let's jump in looking at these empathetic reflections, starting with positive reframing. Here, you offer an alternative interpretation of your client's story. It's kind of like finding the silver lining and shining attention on that place. Reframing invites your client to take back their power by refusing to allow their external situations to control their perception. Let's check out an example.
Well, my husband wants me to quit smoking. I've tried so many times to quit, but I just keep going back. I don't know what it is. Most of my friends, they've been able to quit, and I'm like the last lone wolf. I hate the way it makes me feel to be so addicted.
I'm seeing that you have a lot of people to support you in quitting for good, and you have a lot of practice, so hopefully the next time will be easier and more successful. Next type is an amplified reflection. When you amplify, you're either over or under exaggerating what your client said. Maybe you're changing the meaning a little bit, and that's okay. The point is to invite a response so your client can move their thinking forward. While this is a powerful tool, make sure that you're intentional with your tone and delivery when using amplified reflection. What you don't want is for it to come across as sarcastic, unless that's part of how you and your client build rapport in this moment. Let's look at an example.
It's pretty tough to get to the gym in the morning. And after a day of work, I really just don't feel like exercising.
Got it. Seems like there's not a single spare second in the day for you to move your body.
Well, I could probably make something work. It's just not going to be before or after work. But maybe during my lunch break.
The next type of reflection is a double-sided reflection. With this technique, you address both sides of your client's ambivalence to reveal multiple perspectives. You also reflect on something they've previously said that's out of alignment with what they're saying now. Here's an example.
I really don't like that I drink so much soda and binge on junk food while I'm at work, but it does decrease my stress level.
Got it. Thanks for sharing. So on one hand, you don't like eating junk food, while on the other hand, you also want to decrease your stress at work.
Yep, that's it. So I'm stuck in this dilemma.
Yeah. Right now you're telling me eating junk food helps you to decrease your stress, but I want to point out that last week you shared with me that eating poorly at work was really increasing your stress levels and your feelings of disappointment.
Yep, That's actually true. I mean, I think it's helping my stress in the moment, but really it's causing me more stress in the long term. And that makes me feel bad about myself. I guess I just need some new, healthier ways to feel less stressed at work.
The next type of empathetic reflection is called an emotive reflection. When being emotive, you're revealing the feeling behind what the client is saying. You can empathize with your client's emotional response through feeling-centered statements. Often, emotive reflections help transform a factual statement into one that resonates on a deeper level. For example,
if I don't make changes in my habits, I'll end up having a heart attack, which is exactly what killed my father.
So you're feeling like your habits are a matter of life and death for you. Next type of reflection is called a shifted focus reflection. When you shift focus, you move away from what your client said in order to say something different. In essence, you're changing the subject. If you notice your client about to go on a negativity spiral, consider this like a 180-degree pattern interrupt. For example,
I just don't feel like I can go to the gym anymore. I feel like I'm failing. I'll never get in shape, and I know I'm letting you down.
Last week, you mentioned a family dinner that you were really excited about. Can you tell me how that went? So those are different types of empathetic reflections. And remember that just like appreciative inquiry, motivational interviewing is a non-linear tool. All of these techniques, positive reframing, amplified reflection, double-sided reflection, emotive reflection, and shifted focus reflection, all these techniques can be used in any order when appropriate. So now that we have some of the basic principles and empathetic reflections from MI in our practice, let's check out how we nurse coaches can maximize MI's effectiveness. First, you want to ensure that you've created a safe space and developed strong rapport. You want to have your coaching agreement set and created a container of non-judgment. Then take a non-directive approach, meaning don't tell your clients what to do. Instead, resolve ambivalence through expressed empathy and reflections to develop a discrepancy and to develop intrinsic motivation along with that. And finally, support your client's innate capacity to change by supporting them to unleash their creativity, positivity, and resilience. Doing so, they'll discover solutions for their own problems and offer methods to achieve their goals. And a variety of next-level empathetic reflections can help you achieve this. In summary, motivational interviewing is all about being a flexible communicator. When you meet resistance, you roll with it. You don't argue, and you be awesome. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next module.